Hey Capricorn, welcome to your April 2019 horoscope and astrology reading, including the tarot. Two in one there. So Capricorn, interesting month this month in terms of home, actually. Your home is in focus. We have the sun there, the new moon on the 5th there. We have Mercury move there on the 17th, Venus entering there on the 20th. So your home comes into focus. You might be concentrating on new furnishings, adjustments, changing everything up. You might be attending more gatherings, family parties, anniversaries. Some of you might move home. You could be dealing with a lot of issues surrounding your roommates. They may all come into focus this month. So really that could be where your attention is lying in many ways, but we also still have another full moon in your career sector, which is quite important because this is going to be opposing Uranus in your 5th house of creativity, of love and romance. If your career doesn't have much scope for creativity, it might bother you under this full moon, and you might feel a little bit temperamental about how creative you get to be, how much of a say you get to have in your workplace and in key decisions. Similarly, as this is the 5th house of children, if you have kids, this full moon might really pull into question issues about daycare, childcare. Someone in your family with children that you care about may, for example, need your support during this full moon. And as well as that, we have a lot going on in your workplace. So Mars is in your 6th house, making you extra productive, but making you also kind of anxious. It can give you an excess energy and a desire to be perfect. It can make you feel like you need to spring clean everything, organize everything, like there's not enough hours in the day, making sure you have to spend all your time wisely. Health gets onto your mind, and sometimes you could be spreading yourself a little bit thin in terms of traveling, or if you work in the law or you're dealing with a Libra, you could be spreading yourself a bit thin there, and you may feel like things are out of balance in terms of who is the active energy. So with Mars being in the 6th house, you'll be very detail oriented. You'll really want to have all your ducks in a row. You really want to have everything going there. And then once you've had that productive energy and you've really been seeking out how to support your family, how to advance in your career, the sun actually enters your 5th house, which is the fun energy, the exciting energy, creative energy, and the 20th bringing a beautiful earthy energy that you're very connected to. It's going to trine your sun. So romance then comes into focus, fun comes into focus. So if you get all your ducks in a row, Capricorn, beginning of the month, you'll find Taurus season so much more enjoyable. I'm just thinking in terms of all the Taurus energy, it's a great time to conceive if you're looking for a child, and Uranus adds that element of surprise. Mercury is direct in your communication sector right up until the 17th, and then it's going to enter your family sector. So you'll find you're communicating better. Now, Saturn and Pluto, quite heavy energy, are both going retrograde in your sign, and Jupiter's going retrograde in your 12th. And I wouldn't worry about that too much. It might actually feel like a little bit of a breath of fresh air. That heavy energy may subside. A Capricorn friend of mine said she was feeling quite tired all the time lately. And it's because with Aries season, you're quite simply putting too much pressure on yourself to get everything right, Capricorn. In terms of your career, matters will be coming at you left, right, and center, and there could be a big element of closure coming up. But we may also see, Capricorn, that on this full moon in Libra in the 29th degree, you may also be experiencing some deep conversations about your career and about your dreams, what you want to do with your life. Do you feel like you're appreciated where you are? Do you want to make a change? Or is there simply anything about your work life that could do with changing, because it might be pulling you away from having fun? And if you spread yourself too thin, Capricorn, as it is, Mars in the 6th is really going to tell you where you need to take better care of your body, because it's good to be busy, but you also need to rest at times. Okay, so these cards aren't really giving me much. Let's see what we've got coming up for you. Queen of Swords. So off the bat, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy seems to be quite important. And there's you. Yeah, there is possibly a bit of an imbalance surrounding you and an air sign, or even you and another earth sign. You could be feeling a little bit like you're doing battle with them over certain details. As I say, details are everything this month. And you might just be feeling a little bit like the arguments aren't going anywhere because one of you is too stubborn. The Emperor is all about doing things his way and playing by his rules. He's an ambitious person, but you need clarity on a situation. So if you're dealing with an Aries as well, there could be somebody, your boss, or you could feel like you've been shortchanged out of something. Let me see. Strength card. What was this? 7 of Pentacles. You're constantly supporting somebody else and you're kind of tired of it. You're pulling somebody else's weight, Capricorn, and you're feeling kind of tired of it. There's a fire sign involved. I'm going to draw one more. The Hermit and the 5 of Pentacles. Whew. Okay. So Capricorn, there's stuff that you're doing for others that is not quite being reciprocated as much as it should be. There are possibly people that are taking credit for what it is that you do, or you feel shortchanged in a work environment, and possibly the full moon in the sign of Libra, which could be represented by the Queen of Swords, she is air energy, is illuminating some stuff in the workplace or in your career that needs to change, that needs a bit of work, needs a bit of recognition. The Emperor cannot fathom being unrecognized for his role. That's why he's in very fancy robes. That's why he's a very fancy crown. That's why he stands tall. He demands to be respected. And he doesn't have to do much or say much for that to occur. King of Pentacles is a bit different. He's sitting on his throne and he has all these equations in his head of what it takes to run a business, what it takes to advance in his career. Very, very, very Capricorn-esque. You know, you have all these ideas. You have the methods. You have the equations. At the moment, something's not adding up and it's causing you great frustration. Could very well be to do with an air sign in the workplace or a fire sign. Now, the onus potentially is on female energy, so females that are Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. There's also female fire signs, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, but it doesn't have to be gender specific. The problem is that you are being asked to solve things and sort out the problems of somebody who's not doing the work. Now, this can be relationship too, because it feels top heavy. With Strength card, there's always this sort of feeling that one person is holding everything together and you're waiting to see what you're getting out of this. And I get the impression that somehow you, over the full moons, have realized you're not quite getting what you deserve. Or you're not quite getting the promises that you were made, whether that's in work, whether that's in business, whether that is in romance. You're not quite getting what you deserve. And you're thinking that you need to change something. So there's a letter. There's a physical letter that you've either written to yourself or you're thinking of writing to somebody else. And before you send it, Capricorn, before you send it, think. Spend some time looking for the answers. If appropriate, isolate yourself. Because there's a lot of people here, and I'm thinking a lot of Capricorns are not necessarily feeling as though they are getting enough alone time, because you are, as I say, with this energy, spreading yourself a little bit too thin. Saturn retrograding in your sign, home planet, home sign, retrograde motion, and then Pluto being there. you're going to, over the next few months, reassess what your responsibilities are. And that's good. Because if you are charging in a direction where you're unfulfilled and you're not recognized accordingly, you will end up looking at a tree where the fruit just isn't going to fall. So what you need to do is embrace time in introspection. Embrace time alone where you really think about it. Because if you're led to act when you've not thought it through, it's an indicator that you will make a decision that does not help you but actually harms you. With the Hermit and the Five of Pentacles, you may feel a little bit isolated if you decide to stop being everybody's source of support. There could be a female fire sign looking for your support, a Sagittarius, Leo, or an Aries. But what I'm getting from her more so is that you're burning out, Capricorn, and you need to look inward and spend some time alone, and that's when you get the answer. The Hermit energy is all about introspection. So when we see the Hermit and the Five of Pentacles, the energy is actually heightened. You know, the need to sort of find a little space that you can call your own, somewhere that you can go, somewhere that you can think about what it is that you want out of life. You know, what it is that you want out of your career, what it is that you want out of your relationship, because something is kind of off. And I get the impression that a lot of Capricorns watching probably have a lot of sisters, because the two queens here can often represent sisters. It can also represent aunties, you know, being surrounded by feminine energy. But we also have the Emperor, which is the father. Now bear in mind, Saturn rules the father, and Saturn's going retrograded. So in terms of support there, you may also feel like you're fighting a losing battle with your father figure or your most significant male figure at times, and there's almost an indication that it could be slightly, the feeling anyway, it could be slightly misogynistic. And it's not necessarily the case, but the problem is that you are so involved in everybody else's energy this month, Capricorn, that you need to take a step back, because everybody else's drama is not your drama, contrary to what you believe. Whenever the sun is in the fourth house, you don't have to be everybody's mother. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm thinking, Capricorn, is that with the Hermit energy, all you really have to do is a bit of soul searching. You know, look inwards. The fourth house is very nuclear. It's very inward looking. You need to look away from the current energies, because you are burning out. You need to detach a little bit and find some soul searching. You know, if you are constantly giving advice, you've very little left to give, especially if you're giving it to people who aren't taking it. And it does look like you are giving a lot of advice. It looks like you're being sought out, but it does look like you're being a little bit drained. There's very domineering energy, and I feel like you could possibly feel as though you're being treated as though you are subpar, and that's not a comfortable position for a Capricorn to be in. You know, sometimes just isolating yourself from a situation or making freeing yourself from all the energies that are skirting around you, particularly if you're looking for something, you know, particularly if you're looking for an answer. The full moon will reveal something, and then you need to look further. And it's not an uncomfortable month per se. When the sun moves into Taurus, particularly in the mid-monthly reading, we'll see this really grand shift of energies. But right up until the 19th, I feel like there's career taking precedence and also family. And as I say, there's a letter that you want to send, or, you know, to be more modern, it could be a text message or an email that you've written up. And you might regret it if you send it, because it might come from a place of fighting your corner to the wrong person, as it were. So just be mindful of that. There's a lot of promise with this full moon in your career sector, because it is, you know, the new moon in Aries as well in the 5th is being squared by your ruler Saturn. So your drives, your desires, your ambitions, and your family's ambitions, or your housemate's ambitions, or your partner's ambitions, whatever it may be, you don't have to go down the same route as everybody else, but it also matters to see just what it is that is making you tick and what it is that you want to do. You know, whatever's pushing your buttons around that new moon, whatever's driving you, just be mindful that what you send out vibrationally on the 5th of April could come back to you pretty quickly, and you would be wise to isolate yourself by having some time alone on your own terms, rather than sending out an email that isolates you in a way you don't want. Okay, Capricorn, so just observe with detachment what's going on around you, and spend some time just reflecting and recharging. The 4th house energy is not about action. It's about reflection and enjoying the moment and trying to be a bit more carefree. The real fun time of the year for Capricorn kicks in around the 20th. And with Uranus being on that side of the sky, all cards are on the table. So if you want to join me in the Vimeo readings, I go into the earth signs, air signs, fire signs, and water signs in terms of who you're dealing with as a Capricorn for further information, if you want to join me there. And if not, I will see you in the mid-monthlies for Taurus season, because you're going to like that. And I'll see you then. Bye, guys.